The village of Fairport recently decided to remove a historic sign. On that sign, you saw this quote, "First white child to survive in Fairport." The mayor says the sign was inappropriate and they'll be finding a new way to honor the history behind it. KAYLA Green talked to the mayor today about what led up to this decision.
First white child to survive, born here. That's what's written on this sign that used to stand in Fairport. Bill PORAY is the PERINTON town historian and says it was put up in the 1940s.
If you imagine what was happening at the time, pioneers were working their way west after the Revolutionary War, and in many communities across the area, they felt great joy and relief that their children were surviving. But at the same time, they had displaced Native Americans that were here for generations.
This is where the first white child is buried, and the phrase is also written on his gravestone. Julie DOMARATZ is the mayor of the village of Fairport. She says while the first white child marker is historically important, the wording doesn't sit well in 2020, which is why she decided to have it removed.
It's not appropriate when we think about the indigenous people who lived in this community, because it's really directed at the indigenous people who were here long before the European white community was.
The historic sign used to be on this blue pole in front of this house. The village says it wants to get a new sign made, which mentions both the history of the Native Americans and the settlers.
We should probably find a way to more celebrate the fact that Native Americans were here for hundreds of years before that. Rather than first white child, it might be first pioneer child, it might be first child of settlers.
PORAY says they plan to put the old sign in the Fairport Village Museum with information about its history. In Fairport, KAYLA Green, News 8.
All right, KAYLA, thank you. Now, they do hope to get a grant to pay for the new marker at the historic site, but say they'll replace it either way.